Setting goals with your team will lead them to much higher levels of performance personally and professionally. Whether you're in the workplace, an organization, a business, a club, a sports team, it doesn't matter. Having a unified focus as a team, but also individualized personal goals will lead the team and those individual people to success. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the process I use to write down my goals, make them clear, meaningful, and concise, as well as how you can coach your team with these goals after the fact. Let's get right down to it. Setting goals with your team is so important, and I'm going to give you my entire process for breaking goals down so that everybody has their own personal goals as well as an overall team goal as well. But before we do that, we have to explain and talk about the why behind setting goals personally and setting goals as a team, whether it's a team in the workplace, a sports team, whatever it may be. You see, when you create goals, and this is something that you'll want to explain to your team, you activate the goal-setting part of your brain, which is called the reticular activating system. The RAS, or the reticular activating system, has one function. Its function is to help you see things in your environment, help you notice opportunities, and take actions that will bring you closer to the end result, closer to whatever goals that you created personally or with your team. So if it's a sports team and your goal is to win a certain number of games, then your reticular activating system will subconsciously hold you accountable and allow you to take specific actions that will bring you closer to that end result. You see, 80% or 90% or even more of everything that we do, everything that we think, and everything that we notice in our environment is subconscious programming. And if we can tell ourselves what we want, if we can set goals, if our team can set goals so that we have a common goal, a common vision, then we'll activate that part of our mind, the RAS, that will help us to make it a reality. Now, if you want to bring up like a graphic for your team, you can absolutely do so to show them. The RAS is on the very, very tip top of your brain stem. That's where it resides. It's in the oldest part of your brain. And what I'll do is I'll put a video up here for you so you can look more into the reticular activating system if you choose to do so. But you have to explain the why. Now, when it comes to actually setting the goals, I like to create and set goals for myself and with my team using a process that I created called the Seeds of Excellence. So let me show you what that is. Whenever I create goals for myself or with my team, I use the process I created called the Seeds of Excellence, which is an acronym for the 4 key areas of life, which are your self-development, your economics, which is your financial situation, how much money you want to earn, the experiences that you want to enjoy in your life, and how you want to donate to others and contribute to a greater cause. That could be with money, it could be with your time. So I break down life into these 4 main areas, and then the S in Seeds stands for start. Do something, take action, actually start making progress towards that goal. I work with so many people who create a goal, but then they stop doing anything to go towards it, and you have to develop some form of forward momentum. So when you bring your team together, when you bring everyone in the same room, or you do it virtually, or however you're going to do this, you can do it one-on-one as well. Break down their life in these 4 key areas and ask them, hey, I want you to write down some ideas of what you want personally on a piece of paper or in a journal for your self-development, which is what skills do you want to learn? What do you want to improve in? What types of friends do you want to spend time around? What sort of fears do you want to conquer? How do you want to improve as a human being? And then bring them to economics. How much money are you looking to earn? How do you want to invest that money? When would you like to retire? How will you budget that income? That's all about economics and all about finances and income. And then ask them about what experiences they want to enjoy. Now, under experiences, I would also recommend talking about what type of home they want to live in, what type of car they want to drive, what types of things and physical possessions they might want to have, because those all go under experiences. The places they want to travel to, the trips that they want to take, all of those things will go under the E, the second E, in the Seeds of Excellence. And then lastly, we have the most important one, because if you don't give, then you can't get, right? You always get more than you give, but if you don't give anything, if you don't contribute, whether it's your time, your money, donating to a cause that's important to you, if you don't give, then you're not going to get. Right? So give as a team, do something together. With the company I work for, all of our teams, they go to soup kitchens each month, where they actually go to a soup kitchen, and most of the teams do this, and they volunteer for the day. And they do that at least once a month, which gets our brand out there into the world. But most importantly, and the whole reason we do it, is it helps other people. And when you give, when you do good for others, the law of reciprocity comes into play, which says if you do good for others, you will receive back as long as you don't expect anything in return. So if you give, then you're always going to receive an equal or greater proportion. So these are the 4 key areas: self-development, experiences, economics, and donations. These are the areas you want to set goals in. If you're a sports team or some other kind of team where you track progress, then have somewhere the goal for the team, what the team's goals are for this month, this year, maybe the next day, the next game, whatever it might be. But if you don't have a target, then you're not really shooting at anything. Having a goal allows you to actually know what it is you're going for. So at this point in the process, your team has a bunch of ideas down on paper for each of these 4 key areas. But an idea is not a goal. All right, we still have to turn those empty ideas. They might not be completely empty, but we have to turn them into goals that will actually awaken your reticular activating system so that your actions will bring you closer to the end result and your outcome. So the way that I like to structure my ideas and turn them into goals, I'm going to show you right now. Now hold on just a minute. I just noticed that you weren't subscribed to the channel. So go down here, hit that red subscribe button, and then next to it, hit that bell. When you hit the bell, you're turning on notifications so you see all the new videos that we release on this channel every single week. Now let's get back to it. Now it's time to take those ideas and make them into meaningful goals that cause you to feel something, because feeling is what actually causes us to achieve what it is we're going after. If it doesn't feel right, if it's not something that pulls you, then it's probably not the right goal. Okay, so what I want you to tell your team is choose the top ideas in each of those 4 areas. Their top personal development goal, their top economics goal, their top goal for experiences, and their top goal for how they want to donate their money or their time. And then we're going to take those top ideas and we're going to make them into a meaningful SMART goal. SMART is the acronym and the process that I prefer to use because it's simple, it's easy, and it results in some really clear and concise goals. So check it out. SMART stands for goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and goals that have a deadline, also known as time-bound. So specific, it's pretty obvious, right? If you want to make money, how much money do you specifically want to earn? If you want to weigh a certain amount of weight, if you want to lose weight, how much do you want to weigh? If you want to win a game, like a sports game or whatever it might be, a competition, then how many points do you want to score, right? You got to be specific. If you're not specific, if you just say, I want to earn more money or I want to score more points, that doesn't really mean anything, right? You'll score a point over what you normally score and you'll be like, okay, goal achieved. But if you set your scope high, if you actually shoot high for the goal, then you'll achieve more than you ever thought you could have achieved. So be specific and shoot high. Now, your goal also has to be measurable. And the way that I talk about this is ask yourself, how will you know once you've achieved this goal? If it's to earn more money, then obviously you'll know that you've achieved it because you've earned the specific amount of money that you wrote down. If your goal is to score more points or perform a certain way in a competition, then what does that look like? How will you know that you've performed that way? For some goals, that's obvious. For other goals, such as I want to be more confident, well, that's specific. You know how you want to feel, but how will you know that you're more confident now? That's measurable. Then we have attainable. Is it actually attainable for you to do this thing? If I said to you, I will earn $1 billion tomorrow, not very attainable. If I told you that I will be as great at basketball as LeBron James, probably not attainable, right? Because if you think about it, even if I started practicing now every single day, 12 hours a day, which that'd be a lot of practice, it's still not going to compare to the amount of work and time and history that LeBron James has put into the game of basketball. So it's not very attainable. Your goal has to be realistic, that's the R, which means if I said to you, I'll be a billionaire next year, not very realistic. Is it attainable? Yeah, I could become a billionaire next year, make the new PayPal, make the new Clubhouse, whatever it might be, right? But it's not very realistic. If I told you I will be a billionaire in 20 years, then that might be a little bit more realistic, right? Even 10 years would be more realistic than next year. And then we have time bound. That's simple. Put a date on your goal so that you can tell your brain when you must achieve it by. Remember, when we're setting goals, we're not really setting goals for our conscious mind. Goals can seem kind of boring, right? We're putting these in a journal. We'll look at them every now and then. We're going to put them on index cards, which we'll talk about later. But our conscious mind isn't really dazzled by goal setting. But our subconscious mind is. Our reticular activating system is. And when you set goals like this with your team, you're not influencing them consciously. You're influencing their mind below the surface, which will cause them to subconsciously take different actions, which will bring them closer to these goals that you're creating here. Now, it's easy to take this SMART process and put it into a clear and concise message. So this is what's going to happen. Your team is going to take their goals personally and professionally, and they're going to take the most important one in each of the 4 C's of excellence, and they're going to make each one into a SMART goal. And it's easy to do. This is how you do it. I will, and then they write down their goal. I will weigh 190 pounds, could be the goal, by this date, month and year. Not just year, because that's a lot of variance, right? Month and year. I will earn $5,000 by June of 2021. I will shoot this many hoops on this date or during this game. A SMART goal is clear, measurable, sustainable, attainable, and realistic. So have them take all of those goals and make a sentence out of each and every one. So at the end of this, they're going to have 4 main SMART goals that they are committed to achieving. Now that your team has written down ideas in the 4 key areas of life, the seeds of excellence, and now that they've taken those ideas and made them into meaningful SMART goals, now as their leader, it's your responsibility to have them write down each of their 4 main SMART goals, the ones that they're most committed to achieving, and give them each an index card. And on that index card, your team is going to write down each of their SMART goals in the same way they wrote them down here, have them put their name on the index card, and collect them. Okay, because this is where your role as the manager / leader / coach, whatever you might be, comes into play. Because every conversation that you have with your team from this moment on is going to include their goals. It's going to include what's important to them. It's going to include what they want to achieve. Every one-on-one session with anybody on your team is going to have these goals. Because now that you know what they want, it is our roles as the leaders to help them achieve these goals. And if you follow this process the way that we laid it out here, you're going to notice a higher level of performance amongst your team, but not just performance, you're going to notice a much higher level of fulfillment. I hope these strategies and insights have helped you, and if you want to go deeper into these ideas, click the first link in the description below, because I want to give you a free copy of my book called Be Extraordinary, Your Guide to Self-Mastery. When you click the link below and enter your name and email address, I'll send you a free digital copy that you can start reading immediately, and I know it will serve you well.